Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Legacy and Legends podcast. I'm your host, Trina Gunzel, and I'm so excited to bring you an awesome story today in this special series as we are spreading love and light through the holidays to give somebody a little bit of hope. Maybe you're going to hear this story and be inspired to take action. Maybe you're going to feel like you're not so alone in what you're going through. And it's been so fun just connecting with amazing people around the globe and getting to hear their stories. So I want to introduce you to my guest today as I set the stage for her. Michelle Thames, welcome to the Legacy and Legends podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You're welcome. And I would love it if you could kind of give us a little bit of your background. And then most people, I find anyway, have been through some kind of challenge in their life. And usually there's some specific pivotal moment that kind of launches them into this other path. And at that point, they either choose to make that a success or they choose to kind of cave in. So I'm so excited to hear how you handled that.
Yeah, so I have been a content creator and an influencer for the last 13 years. I actually have a background in healthcare administration. So I have a master's and a bachelor's degree in healthcare. And I was working for a really amazing top hospital in Chicago. I was working in compliance. This was back in 2016. And unfortunately, I was fired from my job, like completely blindsided. I had never been fired from a job before. I am such a hard worker.
Yeah.
Would go to work and do the job. And I really enjoyed healthcare. And I thought that was, a place or a niche or a field that I wanted to go into. But God saw a different story for me. So I was
Yeah.
fired. I was married. I had a kid. But
Mm.
on the side, I've always been a blogger, an influencer, a side hustle. I had started to create this online personal brand surrounding myself as a natural hair influencer. So I was helping other
Oh,
women
cool.
with their natural hair journey, sharing my products. Yes, I know you with your curly
Naturally
hair.
curly. Yeah.
Yes, so I was sharing my journey and helping other women, with products and how to style their hair. And it was, a really great thing. And I found that other women were doing this too. And so I'm like, wow, people are blogging, people are making money from this. Okay, this can be a side hustle. So I started to write for some online publications and started writing and started working with brands, and it was really amazing. And so then in 2016, I got fired from my really great paying government job, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Like, I'm totally blindsided.
Mm.
I thought that healthcare was for me, and so
I was
this
going to say
is
that too. And a lot of people think like healthcare, you think that is a secure job. Like it's always going to be needed, right? But to get fired from that, especially after you're working hard, not doing anything wrong, just blindsided. What did you do with that?
yeah. Yeah, I decided to, go into my passions. I decided to put my all into learning more about marketing, continuing to
Mm.
build my personal brand on social media and leveraging it. And so I decided to freelance. I started freelancing. I started working with brands again. I started, doing all the things. And then I put out on social media one day and said, is there any businesses that are looking for a social media manager? And
Mm.
someone saw this. This was someone I had been networking with before. And she
Yeah.
actually had a startup beauty brand, and she was looking for someone to be her social media and digital marketing manager. So I manifested this job. And that's why I say just put it out there what you want to do, because I got this amazing job with this startup company. And I started with them in the early stages. And now they're a multi-million-dollar household beauty brand. It's called Mielle Organics. I helped them to build their social media foundation in the very beginning. And so it was a really great experience to have my hands in like a whole digital marketing department. Because I don't know if you've ever worked at a startup, but of course, like, a lot of people have to do a lot of things, and it's all hands on deck, and it's a lot of learning experiences. So I got that amazing experience to learn everything from social media, digital marketing, email, influencer marketing, more about blogging, ads, all the things. And I'm like, wow, this is a really great experience. But I always had this feeling in my gut, and it was like God pulling on me, like, this isn't the end of the road for you. Like, you have to
Mhm.
quit this job today. Like, you have to come up with a plan to quit. And so I
Mhm.
went home and I told my husband, I'm like, I think I need to quit. And can I quit this job, because I just don't feel like this is like their dream, right? I really love the company.
Mhm.
It's great. It was a great experience, but this isn't really my dream. I want to help more people. And so how can I do that?
Yeah.
So I quit my job with not like a real plan, but kind of a plan. My husband was 100% behind me, and I decided to build a social media and digital marketing agency and
Mm.
to continue to build my personal brand as a social media expert. And so that is my long, short story of how I really overcame being fired. I know that that's something that is pride. You know, we don't want to say things like that happen, but
Mhm.
it happens. I was a mom, and I know many moms may be listening. There may, you
Mhm.
know, you may be the breadwinner in the family. How are you going to, be able to survive? And what helped me through all of this is my side hustle that I turned into a full-time business.
That's really awesome because a lot of people, I think, in that moment, right? It's like you have to pivot. Mine was a bit different when my son was 4 and he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. We already were running our own photography studio. We'd started from scratch. But there was a moment where I was also teaching full time and running our photography business on the side and consulting. And I wanted to be with my son. And I just remember asking for a leave of absence and they wouldn't grant it to me because at that point they're like, no, you're our ESL district coordinator. We need you. And so I was like, well, then I resign. I wanted to be with my son. And I remember my husband saying, I don't know how we're going to make it work, but we'll make it work. And just having that support, I think, is a big piece, right? Because then you're free to create and look and see what you want. And when you do what aligns with your natural, passion or excitement, like you did, you can really expand that quickly. So how long did it take you to like replace that income from your full-time job as you started up your side hustle?
Yeah, so my government paying job was a really good job. I always was striving to, make six figures. I was making about 70 grand at the job I was fired from. Then when I went to the startup company, of course, startup is very, very different. So I took a pay
Right.
cut. And then when I quit for the first year, we made $24,000. Ask me
Mhm.
how, I don't know. That's not really a lot to sustain, right? But
Yeah.
in 2021, we surpassed six figures, and I believe that we've definitely surpassed multiple six figures this year. So I'm very excited. So it took a while, right? But what I want people to know is you
Yeah.
got to be all in and you have to have
Mhm.
real strategies and look at your numbers to figure out how you're going to reach the goal. For instance, I say I
Mhm.
want to make $10,000 a month. How am I going to do that? I have to have like stackable income or a
Mhm.
retainer client that's on retainer for 6 months, right? At $2,500, $3,500. You have to think about those things and use your skills. All I did was use what I know. I have project management skills. I have organizational skills. I have marketing skills, and that can really help someone as like a fractional CMO to a small business. And so I lead with that. Definitely with our agency, we help with different projects. And so it's great that I learned all those skills right in this company because now I get to actually use them. So I thank God for really setting me on the path to make me see that, I could do this because, it's not something that, not easy. So just jumping into something, knowing like the unknown, but really knowing that it's going to be okay in the end.
Yeah. Did you find too, because it sounds like you went the college route. I did too. I have my master's in education and leadership and education. And so it was always kind of like expected almost that you would go to college and then go get that job, that's going to provide for you. And then when you found yourself on this entrepreneurial path, have you found kind of some mindset work you had to do or some belief shifts to transition? Can you speak about that a little bit?
Oh, yes. Lots of mindset shifts. Lots of mindset shifts coming from a 9 to 5 working environment
Right.
too, because it's like you report up to people, right? And I think a
Mhm.
lot of people like that power and they want to
Yeah.
use that against you or over you.
Mhm.
But it's kind of different when you have your own business because it's like, I can fire you at any time. I don't know why people think that. And so
Yeah.
I did have like the mindset that I have to be a people pleaser because like these people are
Mhm.
paying me, but like you don't have to be that way. You can run your business however you want to. And
Yeah.
I have a solid 9 to 5, work experience background. Everyone doesn't come from corporate, so they may not have that
Mm.
organization like you. So it's a learning curve too. So it took a lot of mindset work with that. Also, a lot of mindset work about money. I,
Mhm.
had a lot of childhood trauma about making money. We don't have McDonald's money. We don't have money.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, wow, well, people who have money, they must be bad people, or I'll never have, that amount of money. Like, I can't just make money with a job that's not like secured by another company,
Right.
corporation. Like, that's not possible for someone like me. So I had to break through those mindset shifts and say, Michelle, you can actually make money speaking. You can make money going on social media. You can make money doing whatever. And so really tapping into, again, my expertise and skills and being able to market that without being salesy. What I really did was built a community online, and that community really rocks to me because I'm very authentic. I share the behind the scenes of being an entrepreneur, my whole entire journey from me being a natural hair influencer, working at the company I work for, and then exiting that company and building my business. I showcased all of that on social media for my community to see. So now that has helped me build like, know, and trust. And so it's, I don't feel like I'm salesy. I really want to help people with the products and services that I have. It is help more than anything, right? It's not about the money, but the
Yeah.
money is great, right? When you get to make money doing what you love.
That's right. Well, and I love that you brought in all the pieces of your experience from, like you said, between hair. I'm sure you have a tribe of people just with that are like I didn't even know that was a thing. One of my cousins, she invited me like to this curly hairs group, and I was like, that's a thing. I didn't even realize there were a place where people talk about products and how to help you with natural curly hair. And it was just interesting because I literally think if you know anything about a specific topic, you could search and either create a Facebook group on it or a group, or if Facebook's not your platform, right? Anywhere you want a place and space for people to get together and connect. Because like we used to be able to do this and we did it offline. So to me, it's like taking that same offline experience, like you would meet up at a MOPS group, or have people over for dinner and just bring that to the online world, because so many people, they think it's not real people, but it is. It's like we're having an actual conversation. We could just be sitting in our house having a tea party,
Right. I love it.
That's cool. And how about with your husband and your child? Are you able to like work your schedule where you have more flexibility? How does that work with your family life?
Yes. So one of the reasons why I did quit was because I wanted to be home with my daughter when she started kindergarten. It was right before the pandemic, right before all this. She
Yeah.
started kindergarten, and I'm like, well, who's going to pick her up at 2:15? No one works a job where they get off at 2:15 and be
Right.
able to go get their kids.
Yeah.
And so I told my husband, I'm going to make it work. We're going to make it work. And I'm just, I want to be here for her. I don't want to put my kid off on someone else. I mean, I know my
Yeah.
mom could help, or my mother-in-law could help, but
Yeah.
that's not their responsibility. I want to be here for my daughter. So that was one of the reasons. And my husband was still working he worked in education. He's a coach, but then he also quit in 2021. And so we both are now full-time entrepreneurs. And our goal is to be able to travel and be digital nomads part-time and really travel the world, because there's so much to see, and we want our daughter to see that and be able to experience that. We love to travel, and so over the next few years we're going to start adding more travel to what we do.
That is awesome. I love it so much. And honestly, just to speak reality over that, like my husband and I, we created our own business consulting, and we do a lot of coaching and helping people with like the entrepreneurial things you have to have in place to develop those skills as an entrepreneur and business owner. Because a lot of people think, I want to start a business, but they don't get the dynamics of balancing family and, putting in your own organization and structure, because nobody's there telling you these are your hours. It's a lot of discipline as an entrepreneur. But we decided to lay down everything. We just kept asking. We're like, Lord, how else can we help people? And there was a scripture that kept following us, where the rich man asks, like, what more can I do, Lord? And he's like, it'd be easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than for the rich man to get into heaven. Well, that scripture literally kept following us everywhere, even in a fortune cookie. And we were like, okay. And so we decided to sell everything, our 4,000 square foot home, our boat, my car, like everything. And we literally were going from idea to go in 8 weeks. We had this window of time. We wanted to be out in a training in California. And during that time, my husband's grandma passed away. So the 1 week we had that we were going to box things and put in storage, we lost because we had that 1 week. Our house sold like so fast. Like we told our neighbor, she knew somebody, so we didn't even have to list it. It's like everything just fell into place. But we literally only kept what fit in our 250 square foot fifth wheel and our truck. And so we were like, you go from having all these things, like all the material things to, well, could we literally almost live out of a backpack? Like we did. We took our kids to Europe a couple times with just a backpack each. And it was so amazing because while sometimes I'll still like miss some of my Christmas things, or, we had a lot of things. We've been together since we were 15 and married 25 years with 2 kids. It was like, how do we literally lay down all this stuff? But we didn't even really have a plan. We didn't plan like where we were going to go. We wanted to travel all 50 states, but taking that time with our kids at the ages they were, like my son, I think, was 12 and my daughter was 8. And we did this for 3 years. And the memories we made as a family while homeschooling through experiences, through travel, we could speak, we did training, we literally could work anywhere with a cell phone signal, coaching and consulting, right? And so having that schedule where it was like 2 hours once a week, we had to be somewhere with signal to coach, or like, a little bit of signal each day, like try a 1 to 2 hour power hour. As a parent, you never get that time back. And I'm so glad we did, because now my kids are 13 and my son's 18 in DC serving a mission. And it's like that window is precious. I mean, if you can do it, if you get the chance, I encourage you, and reach out to me. I'm happy to share with you places that are awesome to stay, how to work out the internet. Like everything can be solved. And that's the thing. Once you break that 9 to 5 bubble, the world is literally your classroom. You can travel, you can take it anywhere you want. So how cool that you guys are thinking about that. It's a big transition, but I'm serious. It is worth it. It is so fun.
And it's funny, we've been looking into not fifth wheels, but definitely a mobile home that we can drive across country, because we're from Chicago. So we want to drive this summer from Chicago to LA, like 2 weeks, and then, come back and then maybe go somewhere else for the next month, and then go somewhere else, like maybe Costa Rica or Mexico. My daughter wants to go to Mexico. So we're planning it out, and I know it's definitely possible. My daughter, she doesn't want to be homeschooled. So we're going to just plan around her, the day she's out of school, how many days can she miss? She's like a straight A student, so I know she'll be fine. Like, so plan around like the days that she can miss, or the holidays at school, and just make it work. And so that's great to hear success stories, because our kids need to see the world. And you're right, she'll be 15 and really appreciate those experiences. And Europe is a place I want to take her, because I love London. I love the melting pot that it is. I love the culture. I love everything. So I want to show her that. And my husband, he hasn't been there either, but I've been there twice. And so I'm kind of like, that's the place that I want to go, definitely first, to one of those places.
That's awesome. And a lot of schools will work with you. Like I used to have students who would travel, and I would give them a journal, and I would just say, hey, when you come back, can you share? Because I valued that. Like experiences are amazing. We could read about, the Mona Lisa, or I showed my kids in person. Like it was really a different thing. When you see Michelangelo's work and the actual places, it just changes things. They've seen the David, like their perspective on everything is so much different having traveled like that. And I think just not everyone can do it, but at the same time, anyone who wants time freedom and location freedom, there's so many possibilities now with online, like you said, positions you can create yourself, different streams of income, and knowing people. That's why I love having a global network, because, is there a specific title then you like to go by? Because I love to be able to refer people. And when people think of you, what would be the title?
I hold a lot of titles. I'm such a multi-passionate entrepreneur, but I think a creator, and I'm a business strategist, definitely a creator and a business strategist. Not everybody's a content creator. Not everybody can be. You have to really understand like content and concepts and marketing to really be a really great content creator, to tell stories for other brands, not just your brand, right? For other brands. I can tell stories for other brands. So I'm a creator and definitely a business strategist. I'm also a podcaster too. So I mean, there's so many, like you can make money literally. And so I want to tell the moms, because I know I have a lot of moms and mom friends, and you can still have an online business and still be a mom. You don't have to be glued to your phone every day. Yes, it's going to take some time. Like I just now got a team, like in the last 2 years. I was doing everything by myself for the last 13 years. But when you get to a place, you can get a team, and just really ask for the help. But you can totally run a
Mhm.
business and be a mom and travel and have fun with your friends, go on trips, all the things, whatever it is that you desire. I think we put ourselves into boxes. Like I could have
Mhm.
boxed myself out when I said, no, I have this degree. I
Mhm.
spent $80,000 to get it. I have a master's degree. I have to be in healthcare. And it's not true. I don't
Mhm.
have a marketing degree. I am self-taught. Everything I know is self-taught and experience. So you can do it too. You do not need a bachelor's degree to educate people online
Mhm.
selling courses. You don't. You can teach somebody how
Right.
to play the piano if that's what you do. So I
Yeah.
want people to know that there's endless possibilities, and that if you want to create even an extra stream of income, this can still be your side hustle. You can still do it while working and make a heavy chunk of change.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing too? Because it is. We were so conditioned to believe like you're going to go to college and pay 80,000 for a degree to get a job that doesn't even pay you $20 an hour. I look back now and I love teaching, but it was never about the money. And the fact that one of my friends got fired after 30 years, I was like, this is crazy. Like she thought she was there, she would get to work there till she retired. And there wasn't really safety in that. It's like a fake safety that's kind of built in. But then it makes it really hard to break out of that bubble because a lot of people, they're not even making enough to pay their bills. Everything's going on credit, everything looks like they have a house, but they don't. Everything's mortgaged, right? Car payments, all this. And so when I'm helping people to start their business, I always have them look like if you're in a 9 to 5, it's actually pretty sweet because you could start your other business on the side, your side hustle, like you said, blogging or, whatever they're excited about, coaching or piano. But then when you find yourself fired, I almost think that lights a fire more because now you can't do it out of a stage of it's comfortable. It's like you have to make it happen, right? Because other people are depending on you.
Yeah, and that's what happened to me. I had to make it happen. So I tapped into my network and made it happen. And I'm proud because I gave myself actually one day after I got fired, I cried, but then the next
Mhm.
day I got to work. Because you can only just be
Gosh, I
sad for so many, like
yeah.
you can sob and be sad in it,
Yeah.
and it's only gonna make it worse, right? I had to figure out a way to help my family. And so like it was out of desperation, if anything, like, well,
Yeah.
I can't sit here and cry. I have to figure out what the plan is. And again, luckily I had my husband and we
Mhm.
made a plan and made it work.
That is beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love your story. So is there something, Michelle, that if there was somebody right now that just got fired from their job, I mean, look, it's going into the holidays, they're in that place where they're just like, what am I going to do? I counted on this. Maybe they get a couple weeks notice or severance, but maybe they don't. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like they fire someone that day. But if they have a little window here, what would you encourage them to do?
Research and look within yourself to see what skills that you have. Can you do copywriting? Can you do blogging? You can start that tomorrow. You can look up websites where you can write for like $25 an article. That's something. Then maybe you can do one-on-one coaching. Are you good to help people through problems? There's certifications that you can get online too, like mindset coaching and life coaching. If you think that that's something that you can do, there's so many opportunities. You just have to look at what skills are you really good at. For me, I knew that I was a really good person as a strategist. I can strategize projects in business and keep everything organized for somebody. So that's what I lean into. And I help entrepreneurs and creators do that. Like if you want to create an easy business selling digital products, it's so easy,
Mhm.
right? You can go on Canva, create a PDF, create a link in your bio for a store and sell it tomorrow. It's that easy, literally 5 minutes.
Mhm. That's the thing, and I think sometimes people just overcomplicate it, right? And I try to share, like, if you're doing what you love, if you're really doing what you love, it won't be this hard, frustrating thing, And we always talk about like a lot. I always have to pull this when we have connections, or at least share like hashtag. It's like share your sparkle because there is a thing that lights you up, and that is going to bring people into your life, and people will see that in you, and they'll recommend you or refer you. And I really feel like that. Like people are drawn to that energy. They see that, wow, you're the person for that. Like now I'm always linking you to hair products, like she knows how to, because that was something that was a struggle for me as a kid. Like my sister finally referred me to a certain gel like 5 years ago that I love, but you have these things as a content creator, as that story of thinking about, you're specifically with the strategy. That's a big deal. So many struggle with the organizational pieces, right? And then because of that, they can't get out of their own way, literally, to get something out there and deliver it to people.
Absolutely. And that's where I help. So yeah, I just love what I do, and you can totally have a business doing what you love. I recommend this 10 out of 10 to everyone. I'm not the person to say quit your job, but if you hate it, you can change your situation. It doesn't have to stay that way. You can have a side hustle, work your 9 to 5, build it up, and quit if you want to or not, or keep the job. No one's judging you. You can do both. You can be a full-time entrepreneur if you want to. It's just whatever you want to do, but don't let anything stop you because it's possible.
I love that. I love that so much. And I always like to ask people when they get on this podcast, if you were going to create a hashtag for your younger self, what would it be?
Oh, if I was going to create a hashtag for my younger self, what would it be? Hashtag, you got this, girl.
I love it. Awesome. That's right. That belief in yourself. I mean, that belief in yourself to just pause a day and then go, I'm doing this. That's awesome. Like, seriously, I'm so glad to have met you and to hear your story. And you talked about your community. If there is a way that people want to work with you or reach out or be a part of your community, where can they find you? How can they get in touch with you, Michelle?
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely find me on Instagram. That's like my favorite place to be, at Michelle L. Thames, or Facebook as well. I have a Facebook profile, professional profile, Michelle Thames. If you want to look me up, you can follow the page. I share really great tips there as well. And my podcast, I have a really great social media podcast. If you want short, straight, to the point information to help you grow your business, Social Media Decoded. It's a really great podcast. You can binge at least 20 episodes in a day. They're 5-10 minutes short. I also have amazing guests, so there's always something to learn, but that's where you can find me.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And you can access the content. I'm going to have this in the notes, so anybody who's listening, you will be able to see this and get in touch with Michelle. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I really feel like this is going to light somebody up these holidays who needed to hear that, because when you hear someone else has been through something you're going through and you see they're on the other side and it's possible, I mean, what a light you are, Michelle. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, everybody, I want to make sure you are remembering to share your sparkle wherever you are. Find that thing inside that you love that lights you up, and reach out to Michelle. She will help you be able to organize that so you can literally pay that love and light forward to someone else. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of the Legacy and Legends podcast.